not teaching them to do anything. We're not telling them to, we're not telling you to go have sex. Hey guys! Welcome to our channel. I am through the moon. Wait, why did I say that? When you're trilingual. I know, through the moon.
Hi everyone, welcome to our first ever YouTube video. We are going to be talking about several different subjects that might tickle your fancy, and I don't mean in a good way. So I am extremely excited. This is our first ever video. How are you guys feeling?
I'm feeling like great. I'm so like excited to talk about this topic because we've been like talking about it for so many years, but just like to jump the gun and just like talk about it, like yeah. I definitely
well, we always have these conversations among each other, but I think like it would be really beneficial to just help educate young women. So
hi, my name is Gian. I am Algerian, which is in North Africa, completely Algerian.
I'm Sarah. I'm half Lebanese and half Sudanese.
And my name's Tara. I am half Moor, half Malay, which is half Moroccan, half Malaysian, but my parents are from Sri Lanka and I was born here.
That's complicated.
Yes, it's very complicated. So today we are going to be introducing what our channel is going to be about and what us three wonderful, wonderful ladies are going to be talking about on our channel.
So today we're going to be talking about this obsession with virginity among Middle Easterners, and we're going to be talking about the experiences of women predominantly. So I'm going to start by sort of just dispelling some of the common myths about the hymen, because these myths are incredibly detrimental and have an adverse effect on women's reputation.
I don't know about you guys, but I know that like in my culture, we have this tendency to keep the woman like a virgin for her until she gets married.
Pure.
Yeah, pure, yeah. Exactly. And we have this like weird imagery of like what the hymen looks like, but as we did some research, it turned out that it's actually not at all what we thought it was, right? So did you want to talk about the TED Talk? And
yeah, well, what we've been taught, I think this is the consensus, and tell me if you agree, but what we were taught since young girls is that the hymen is kind of like this seal that covers the vaginal opening, and that it can just be pierced or punctured, and that, in other words, it would disappear after intercourse. That's at least what I was taught. What
yeah, it's almost like punching through a little like a plastic
or like a paper wall.
Yeah, like a paper wall, exactly. Yeah.
Like imagine those Japanese doors and you just
yeah.
So in my culture, sex is literally, they don't talk about it. I never got the sex talk. I never got literally.
Well, we did, but it was just don't have sex.
Yeah. It's basically like don't have sex, don't even say the S word.
But just to be clear, from a religious standpoint, if we're talking about Islamically, men and women are supposed to stay virgins until marriage, but from a cultural perspective, I think there is an obsession with women staying virgins.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. So the first thing I want to do is I just want to dispel some of the myths about the structure of the hymen. So Nina Dolvik Brockman and Alan Stoken-Dahl actually gave a TED Talk on this, and they were basically talking about how, in contrast to what we've been taught, which is that the hymen can be punctured or that it just disappears, it doesn't just disappear when you first have intercourse. Instead, it's more like a scrunchie, and so it can stretch.
So like pretty much like it's like this and it stretches.
Yeah, so because it can stretch, some women may have hymens that are more elastic than others. And so that would explain why 40 to 50% of women don't even bleed their first time having intercourse, because their vaginas are just more, or not their vaginas, but their hymens are more elastic. And so the hymen varies from woman to woman.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Everyone has different body structures and everyone has different like even the hymen itself looks different on each woman. So
it can, and it can even have more than one hole.
Yeah.
In some women.
Yeah.
So the point that we're trying to make is that because people, I think, have perpetuated this belief that the hymen can be punctured, there's this conception that when you get married, there's a way to determine a woman's sexual history. That if she bleeds, that would signify a past puncture, and that therefore she would not be a virgin. And so we've talked about this before. I don't know, like if you ever have heard of virginity testing.
So I've heard of virginity testing, and it's quite barbaric. Like sometimes they show it in shows if it's a period piece, which is set back in the day. I know that if we switch very briefly to Western culture, I know that back in the day they used to require the woman to be a virgin because they want to figure out the lineage of the children that she is going to give birth to. So I'm not too sure where the perception of being a virgin and the significance of it for women came from in the Middle East.
It's not even exclusive to a particular region, because I think that I have a list of countries actually that have practiced virginity testing, and that includes Egypt, India, Indonesia, Iran, Jordan, Palestine, Turkey,
Algeria.
That's just to name a few.
Yeah, I know so many people back home that they require to go get a virginity test before their wedding night. So that's quite upsetting.
So what does the virginity test look like?
So pretty much what you do is you set up a meeting with an appointment with a doctor, and they require you to take off your clothing, and you have to sit on the bed, obviously, and the doctor looks inside of you. They have to physically see if there's a hymen intact. So.
Which goes in line with what I was saying before, which is that people have developed this misconception that based on observing the hymen, you can determine if a woman is a virgin, which is simply not true. Because like I said, some women don't bleed their first time having sex, and that's because of the way that their hymen is just structured.
So what is the consequence for a woman who doesn't pass the virginity test?
In some communities, they can even be objected to pay a fine. They can be denied employment. Husbands sometimes will just ask for a divorce. Basically her worth or value as a suitor is dependent on her sexual history, and so they'll just say, some men or her reputation is just done for.
Reputation and her social class is like completely dehumanized. So,
and that's just talking about women who fail a virginity test. But we haven't even talked about women who are mandated to do these virginity tests and end up committing suicide before they even do it because of the anticipation. And they'd rather die than have a stranger touch them invasively like that.
So because of the anxiety, some people might go and commit suicide, or they might go through different ways of like faking the virginity or like the hymen being broken. So we did do some research, and one of them was like the hymen repair reconstructive surgery. What is it? What's the actual word?
It's called a hymenoplasty.
That is a plastic surgery where women do get their hymen reconstructed. But there is like the different ways in which they can do it, which does not require like an actual like surgery. So
another method is just hymen repair. And one thing they can do is give the woman like a capsule, and inside of the capsule is this blood-like substance. And so she'll be asked to insert it before her wedding night. And so then it will just produce fake blood.
So it kind of like acts as like a dissolved substance, so that when she is, like a sexual active that night, the blood will be like visible.
So this is definitely not as common, but some women have actually been instructed to have animal blood, like real animal blood with them on their wedding night, and they just put it in their wedding gown. So there are so many different ways that have been developed to sort of fake virginity.
Like pricking your finger.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Yeah.
This is a really weird one. And you can actually buy hymen repair kits online, and some of them contain like vaginal tightening pills, which like doesn't even make any sense. No, I swear to you. Like you can find them online. Like there are vaginal tightening pills.
There's a pill for everything.
They don't work, obviously.
I mean, if you're having it orally, how does that?
But because it's been scientifically proven, if you Google it, your reproductive system is not connected to your digestive system, so it doesn't make any sense.
That's crazy.
But women are in desperation, like they will actually purchase these things online and try anything to spare their reputation.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm just trying to put myself in their shoes, like if I was 16, didn't know too much about the world, a little bit naive.
Yeah.
That would be something that I would consider. Yeah.
And would you say that underage marriages happen often?
The reason why I'm saying 16 is not because underage marriage does happen, but I'm just putting myself in their shoes. Like, let's say
immaturity.
Yeah, like just being 16, like maybe being sexually active, and then, but I would also have this thing in my head, like, oh my god, like how am I going to fake this? Like, what am I? Who
are they gonna go to talk about it? They're not gonna tell their parents. They're gonna go to the internet, and then they're gonna find vaginal tightening pills.
Yeah, and that's why education is so important, and that's why sexual education is so important.
But we don't really.
Yeah, which we don't. Well, yeah, it sucks.
Do you know any places that still practice this? Because like I know in some Arab countries historically, they did used to display like the bloodied
the
blanket.
sheets on like a clothesline.
As this, I guess.
So imagine that you as a viewer, you're young, you get married, and let's say you are a virgin, right? Let's say you did everything right, and then you have sex with your husband on your wedding night, and then you don't know who does this. But when you guys leave your bed, somebody, maybe a family member, goes into your room, takes the sheets that you just had sex on, and displays it for the world to see to prove that you're a virgin. How would that feel?
That's humiliating. That's so degrading. So
humiliating. Like I feel so shameful. Like, yeah, you're supposed to be happy at that moment, but you're not. People are seeing something that is extremely private. Since you've mentioned that, Algeria, we used to practice that. I don't know if they still do. Like, I can't speak for the entire like country, but I did, like, at a certain point, like, they did have this practice where they display it to family, neighbors, like, just to prove that, you know, like, our daughter is a virgin. They kind of like let that ideology go, but yeah, like, it's interesting how you brought that up. Like, it brought some memories of the land.
Didn't you say also in Algeria, I don't know if this still applies, but historically they did have like a certification, like a virginity certificate that they would give women?
Yeah, so they actually still do that. I've heard of someone do it like 2 years ago, and they go before their marriage, they go to a doctor, they get a certificate like saying like, okay, this person is a virgin, so even if this person doesn't bleed on their wedding night, this certificate like kind of like says here, like she is a virgin even though she didn't bleed. So they know there's a concept that some women don't bleed. They just want to make sure by going to the doctor, but as we know, like, that's a myth. Like, the doctor itself, they can't know if you're a virgin or not.
So are you saying some doctors will, knowing that a woman is like, they can't determine her sexual history based on her hymen, will falsify these certificates?
It's not that they can't determine, it's that they know, as far as I know, that you don't, like, not everyone bleeds. Right. They know that.
Yeah.
But I think they still think that they can still determine their sexual history.
Because it's probably really big business as well for the doctors to go and get those certifications.
Oh yeah, 100%. They don't have healthcare.
No.
Well, they don't have like Canadian healthcare. Like, they don't, when you go and get these things done, like, you're paying money for it. Like, you're paying. So
and would you guys say that so the topic of honor killings has come up again and again and again in discussions when it comes to purity and virginity within Middle Eastern people. So what do you guys have to say about honor killings?
Well, here in Canada, as like a Middle Eastern person in Canada, I think honor killing isn't like an issue. Like, I think because we have
had a case that, like, I think it was in 2008.
Yeah.
But let's just explain what honor killings actually are, because they basically assume that a woman carries the literal honor or reputation of their family, and that when she engages in premarital sex, she's therefore bringing shame to her entire family. So there's this conception that a woman's sexuality is the community's domain.
And furthermore, this didn't happen in Canada, but I think this happened in Pakistan. There was a girl who, she wasn't, as far as we know, she wasn't even having sex. She was just being very sexual on Instagram and Facebook, and her family killed her for that. And it was a whole thing. I forgot what her name was. We will see if we can find it and put it in the description. But it was absolutely horrific.
Just as a disclaimer, we want to make sure that we're not conflating religion with culture, and those are completely two distinct concepts, and that we're not saying that virginity testing is endorsed Islamically whatsoever.
Like, we are not imams, like, we are not hafizahs, like, we are not the authority on Islam. We are just, this is all anecdotal.
Okay, so I did some research on virginity and disclosing your virginity or sins in Islam, and it's actually haram to disclose what you've done in your past, including your sexual history.
Or to show your genitals to someone that isn't your spouse.
Exactly.
Like a physician who's gonna do the virginity.
Exactly. The only time it is okay to show your body to a doctor is if it's medically related.
Yeah.
Exactly. So having said that, disclose, like trying to get your virginity to be disclosed or stuff like that, like it's not a medical issue. That isn't a medical issue. It's just to make your family proud, or like to tell your husband that you are a virgin. So it's, in theory, like it's haram. Like you can't be doing that.
Which is absolutely disgusting.
The woman's sexual history is seen as the community's domain, but does that exist for men?
No,
You know what?
it's a social construct.
It is.
It's a social construct to like have control over women in society. So
And also, like, with women, it's like, why are things taken so seriously when it comes to sex with us?
and we just want to be like firm on this. Like, not all men are like this.
Yeah.
We don't think that men like are bad in any way. We're just saying men that contribute to this social construct.
Right.
Yeah. I just find it so weird how, like, I don't know if it's double standard, but how like they pick and choose what they want to believe or not believe in, and it's just like, do you get what I mean? Like,
Religion is used to control women in a cultural way, and it sucks.
yeah,
Or
exactly.
culture is used to control women, but they try to pass it off as religion.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because Islam does not say that. Like, you are not supposed to disclose any sin you've done.
So what can we do to help with the situation? Like, what is the solution to this?
Well, first of all, I think they should ban virginity testing in some countries. I mean, as a Canadian, like, I think it should be banned here.
Yeah.
And then as an Algerian, I feel like it should be banned back home as well.
And actually this week, France did issue a bill where they're hoping to ban virginity testing there. So I think other countries should follow suit. And in France, if this bill passes, physicians who do virginity testing can be fined and serve a prison sentence of up to a year.
Good.
Hallelujah.
Good. Like, good. Can everyone, like, follow through now?
Yeah.
Everybody follow suit.
Okay, so now I want to open the discussion. So what do you guys think about this whole like the hymen, how it's constructed, or how like we use it to control women? Like, what, let's just open up the discussion.
Can I just say, like, some men at this age still don't understand the construction of the hymen. Like,
And
even men who have been sexually active.
But
like,
that's not surprising, because think about it. The dudes that are at least, okay,
The dudes.
my references. So when I say the dudes, I'm thinking about like Jersey Shore type of dudes who kind of just run around, you know,
Yeah.
they're very sexually promiscuous, which is totally fine. Yet, if I don't know, like, I remember the show because I'm quite old. I'm 26, just letting you know. So the way that they talk about women, even though they have so much sex and they're so familiar with a woman's anatomy, is not very respectful at all. They still see them. What did they call them? They called ugly girls grenades.
Yeah.
Like, we'll throw the grenade at you. You better run.
I didn't watch Jersey Shore, so I have no idea.
You need to watch it. It's very entertaining, but very, very bad. Girls, do not follow suit. And I just feel like, why is the privacy of women always being taken unless it's a woman that's giving it up for free? For example, like Kim Kardashian. She's considered what? The sluttiest woman in the world because she's naked everywhere. People label her a slut because she's giving it away for free. So now this is a part of our little show where we are going to be providing anecdotal evidence that isn't necessarily ours.
Dictionary. Please provide anecdotal evidence.
Anecdotal evidence is an informal account of evidence in the form of an anecdote.
I would actually like one of you guys to start because I feel like you guys are more ingrained in Middle Eastern culture than I am, and I feel like you have more anecdotal evidence to share than I do, especially within your communities.
Yeah, go ahead. So I know a story within North America, I'll just keep it at that, of a girl who, her mom found out she wasn't a virgin, and was hysterical, like hysterically crying. And so she basically ended up telling her that she's never gonna get married in the Arab community, that no man is gonna want her. So her worth is basically dependent on her sexual history. And she tried to get her to fly back home so she could do a hymen reconstruction surgery there. So like, it's even the women in the community, it's not even so much about like the actual act that they're upset about, they're just upset about the reputation. And because I guess there is this idea that a woman is not worthy of marriage, that if she's not a virgin, that they want to protect their daughters. They think they're protecting their daughters by having them do these hymen reconstruction surgeries, even if it means flying them back home to do it. And they want to do these things discreetly. And to me, it's just like, well, what are you teaching them then? Like, you're teaching, first of all, you're teaching them to enter a marriage with deceit.
Yeah.
And then you're also teaching them that their value depends on their virginity status.
Yeah.
Or sexual history, basically.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's almost like the cycle of abuse. It starts with one generation and it keeps going and going and going and going because they don't know how to break out of it. Because family is family and community is community.
Yeah.
You can't just cut off all the people that you were raised with, and it's not like you can just ignore them too.
Hypothetically, like, what if there was this girl who was sexually assaulted and she's about to get married with someone who she greatly loves, and her family's like, oh, well, you have to get your testing done, right? How would you feel? Like, how would you feel that you went through a sexual...
This makes me so mad.
Yeah, like, having to... It's like re-victimization, don't you think? Like, going through that again, and like just having someone that you don't even know look at you physically and like...
And possibly have them ask you every detail of the rape that you endured.
So actually, this just reminded me of a conversation my brother and I were having. So my brother and I were kind of just talking about if your spouse is entitled to know your sexual history. Me, I say no. And I think it's totally up to the couple, like, to decide if that's something that they feel comfortable disclosing. But by no means is any man or woman entitled to know that. Like, when I don't see what benefit that serves. To me, if a man is asking about my sexual history, it can't be with any good intent.
Yeah.
You know, like, why are you asking? Is it because, like, are you going to judge me? Or is it going to influence your decision of whether you want to be with me or not? Because if that's true, then I wouldn't even want to be with somebody like that.
That's true. No, I agree 100%.
I mean, think of it this way. If you get into a relationship with somebody and they ask you for all of your financials from the beginning of time, would you give it to them? No, because that's something that's personal.
In the past. It's
in the past. It's personal. All you can do is move forward from it. Not saying that not being a virgin when you get married is a bad thing. I'm just saying that you wouldn't provide information about other parts of your life to your spouse, so why would you provide it about something so personal?
Especially if it was a traumatic experience.
Exactly. Yeah. So the topics that we were discussing today are obviously very touchy. If they touched you, leave a comment down below and we will see it, we will respond. If these things angered you, or if you have your own anecdotal evidence, because now you know what anecdotal evidence means, please let us know in the comments below and let's start a conversation. Let's talk about these things and let's take the stigma away. If you like this video, like it. If you want to share this video, please share it. And if you want to get in touch with us, our social medias will be in the description below.
Also, comment below what other topics you want us to discuss. So generally, we're going to talk about issues related to Middle Easterners and South Asian communities.
And we're probably going to do it every week. We'll try to do it. We'll probably post them every week. But please leave some comments about some issues, social issues surrounding your culture, of like the Middle East, and we'll discuss them. We'll discuss them because I think it's time to discuss these things.
It is time to discuss these things. And if you guys see a comment that somebody else has posted where you would like us to talk about that subject, please like that comment, because then it'll get pushed up and we will see that that's what you want us to talk about.
Also, disclaimer, our intention is not to man bash. If you guys want us to talk about issues that are specific to men within the Middle Eastern or South Asian communities, we'd be happy to do that and maybe even get a guest speaker on. But we do recognize that men also endure specific social issues, and that, you know, for example, we've talked about before that in Arab communities, there's this perception that men need to sort of hide their emotions and that they can't really express if they're depressed or whatnot. So just to make that clear, we are open to both issues related to men and women.
Thanks for watching. Bye.